You know, when they roll out the old Megazord and they say Megazord sequence activated, dad mode, can activate it. Hey, what's good guys? My name's Chris. Welcome back to the official WearTesters.com YouTube channel. Today we're taking a detailed look and review on these bad boys right here. This is the Nike Air Pegasus 2k5. It's a retro. Did you know that? Me neither. We talked about these in the podcast episode and I had sat there and been like, yo, these things look mad fresh. I thought that they were like a throwback design. And wrong. Well, I mean, it is, but it's an actual design that released in 2005 and it's the Pegasus 2k5. So yeah, that's what happens when you're well versed in all things basketball and no things running. But anyways, this is back. I don't know how many times that this shoe is re-released. I personally have never seen them before until this retro launch. So there's that. I'm not saying that that means that they never released besides the 2k5 original, but I'm just saying if they did retro, I must have missed them. Inconceivable! The outsole right here is awesome. It actually, when I flipped it over for the first time, reminded me of what Adidas currently uses on their Ultra Boost stuff, which is that stretch web, but obviously this is prior to the Ultra Boost line. But either way, you can see little white cutouts in there, and that is for flexibility. I really like purposeful design when it comes to products and stuff. I do think that things look cool, and that's really awesome as well. But the reason why I got into footwear in the first place was for functionality purposes. Like I played basketball, so I needed basketball shoes, and I needed them to be as good as they could be, I guess, you know what I mean? Or as good as I wanted them to be, or as good as I thought that they were way back when I was a kid. So when I look at shoes and stuff like that, I'm always looking at what's gonna be functional. And this right here, just even by today's standards, while it's not considered like crazy or a super shoe, like this is not gonna trim your mile time down at all, but it is something that would still work, you know what I mean? Like this is something that you could run in today if you wanted to. But anyways, the lugs on these things are nice and thick. They also come off the shoe quite a bit, so I really dig that. And then way back here in the heel, you can see that they showcase Nike's BRS rubber. Way back in the day, this was just a more durable rubber compound. They would put it in strategic zones to kind of combat high wear areas and stuff like that. It's funny because Mark, what was the shoe called? You're wearing them right now.
The Vomeros?
Yes, the Vomero 5. We wear that on a daily basis to do our daily walks. And my BRS section, which is in the heel, is obliterated. I was surprised that that part of the outsole was as ground down as it was, especially because I don't drag my feet. It was very interesting to see how me just walking 4+ miles a day, how that wears a shoe down and stuff. So I thought that was really cool. The rubber is probably going to last not as long as the cushion. So I think that that's also very interesting as well, because the cushion in those is Cushlon and Zoom. Now, as far as this shoe goes, these actually feature full-length Nike Air. They say that in a couple of different places, one of which is on the bottom. You can see the little window right there, which is plastic, but it looks into the actual sole of the shoe, no pun intended, and you can actually see the air sole unit in there. And while I don't know if this is the exact same style of unit, it is going to be implemented just like this. So it'll be kind of like top loaded like this, right underneath the insole. So if you were wondering kind of like what it is in there, this is it. If anything, if it's different than this setup right here, it could be that the air unit goes a little bit further up into the toe, but either way, that would be like super tapered off, like very thin. So it wouldn't make much of a difference. But either way, if you're interested or curious as far as like what something like that would look like inside the shoe, it's typically gonna look like this. Now the insole is still a performance-based insole, which I think is cool. It's a Durapontex. If you wanted to swap this out for something else, you could, but if you wanted to keep it in there, it's pretty much good to go. Like I said, this is a shoe that, despite it being a retro and despite it being released from 2005, it's still viable as far as an option goes today. If you were interested in running in something that you've previously ran in before, or maybe you just wanted to run in something a little bit different than today's lightweight era of stuff, even though this is kind of within that realm still, without being lightweight. It's just like extra sturdy, you know what I mean? Like way more durable, so much rubber.
I love it.
Now the midsole is definitely different than something like those Vomero 5s where those use Cushlon. This feels just like Phylon. It does feel like a lightweight Phylon, but it's definitely more dense than the other shoe. So it doesn't feel quite as springy or as bouncy or anything like that, especially on foot. You could definitely feel the bottom heaviness of this shoe. That's the one thing that where, like if you're a modern runner, maybe you won't like that because foams have changed so much over the years since 2005, where like this will feel more like dead weight weight than anything else. But as far as casual use goes and walking around and stuff like that, which is why I bought these, it should be just fine. Like, it's a comfortable setup, it's stable, supportive enough and all that stuff. So yeah, so if you're looking for something that's just like a daily wear without like breaking the bank and without you wanting to sacrifice much technology, then this could be an option for you. The upper is very basic though, nothing really to write home about. It's got a bunch of like synthetic panels and then mesh. It's very simple, very easy, very streamlined. I think that this is great for breathability. It's got little panels in high wear areas and stress zones, so durability should be fine as well. Now, as far as fit is concerned, I would go true to size. I think that they fit perfect. So if you were interested in something like this and you don't have them in your stores, then, you know, go ahead and grab them online if you wanted to in your true size, and you should be good to go. If you are looking for them in stores, I actually have not seen them. We just went to the mall the other day and we barely go there anymore, you know what I mean? So it was actually really interesting to see what exactly was on shelves, which was damn near everything but cool stuff like this. There was just tons of retro product just sitting with like markdown tags on everything. It was hilarious. But these I've only found at one store, and that is our local store, Phenom. If you're in the Sacramento area and you wanted to check them out, you can go and visit them over at the Doco Shopping Center. It's like right in the Golden One area. They're right across from Macy's. They also have a website, so if you're not in the area and you have not found these but you wanted to try them out, I can link them down below in the description box. Now, what is today's question of the day?
Now I will let you speak on your thoughts on being immortal.
Oh.
Follow up.
In the video that nobody's gonna watch because nobody cares about Pegasus 2k5s or whatever. But yeah, we watched the movie that you referenced for the question.
Tuck Everlasting.
So which video was this? I can't remember. For reference, if you're just mildly curious and you're like, what the f are these idiots talking about? We have a question of the day every video, or at least for our recent videos, and they've been a lot of fun. But either way, in that video of the Air Jordan 1 white and gold, yeah, she had asked like if I wanted to be immortal. I was very curious on the parameters because in my world of comics, and being immortal is very different than what was depicted in that movie, which was Tuck Everlasting. My answer initially was like, oh, if I could be immortal like Wolverine, which they kind of were.
Yes.
Like they had gotten shot and stuff and they couldn't die.
They couldn't get injured though, and what I've seen of Wolverine, he does get injured and he has to kind of like repair himself. Well, in Tuck Everlasting, it was more like if you got shot, it was like a punch. There was no like breaking of the skin.
That's what we assume, but I think that that's a budget thing.
Or it could have been a Disney thing where they're like, we don't want to show blood.
It was kind of like Wolverine, but it did a good job of explaining how everything that you know, you got to leave it behind. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Then we were talking about how this almost feels like it should be a podcast, but you'd have to reinvent yourself always because you're stuck as you. So like one of the characters was a teenager and he's a teenager forever. He could never have a job. You don't get old. So like, what are you going to do? And even the people that were older, like adult age, you can only stay at that job for so long before people are like, why don't you look old? You know what I mean? While everybody else is aging around you. So it's like just that scenario was very interesting. So while I think being immortal would be fun in a sense, mostly the historical sense, if you were to live through a ton of history, that I think would be cool just because you'd see it all. But sometimes you just don't want to see that, or you don't want to live through it, or you don't want to live after it. So I would rather just be as we are, but it would be interesting. And you said no right off the bat, but I think you had seen the movie already.
Oh yeah, I've seen the movie and I still stand by I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm still kind of 50-50, but like, I don't know. The hiding from everyone always would be really difficult.
There's a movie that we should probably watch where it's like the opposite of that, where I think it's Justin Timberlake. They're in the future and it's people who are paying to become immortal and like live forever. It's basically what the guy is trying to do in Tuck Everlasting, like exploit it, but at a different time frame.
But I think that's important too, is that what era you're in depicts kind of your outcome, at least temporarily. Because like back then, if you didn't die, you were seen as like a witch or something, and
their
so
house
like
was burned down.
Yeah, and they, like you'd be persecuted and taken for, they'd want to like research you and stuff like that. But then like if it was like way earlier in time, you'd be touted as a god, or like if it was way later in time, who knows what, you know what I mean? Like maybe there's more like you, and that was something that we were talking about. I was like, how do you you know that there's not more like you. So the whole premise was just really interesting, and I thought it was a great conversation and a great topic. So I wanted to compound my thoughts and update it just a little bit after getting a little bit more context on the subject. Did we have a question of the day? Did we already ask it?
No, it was just, I know that you wanted to talk about it some more, so I was letting you expand on it.
Okay, so homework for you. Watch Chuck Everlasting, come back here, and then let us know your new thoughts on the same subject. Would you or would you not want to be immortal? But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for being here, especially if you're here right now, because I know some people are like, this guy's ramble too much. But if you're one of us, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. We enjoy hanging out with you damn near every day, so I hope that you guys enjoy it too. And until the next one, guys, y'all have a good one. Are you doing the music yourself?